Ira Daniel.
Let's go to work, 'cause I'm tripping. Gotta work on myself, 'cause I'm falling apart. Please wake me up, 'cause I'm slipping. Can't fight this feeling off no more. But I'm not going to give up and fall. Rise above it all, meet all my challenges and search for my strength. I defeat them all, I'm never ever gonna hide no more. I come to love myself again, yeah. For all the things I didn't know, the pain, the hurt, I let it go. Start to believe in myself and life will be sweet again, so sweet again. Above it all, meet all my challenges and search for my strength. I defeat them all, I never ever gonna hide no more. I come to love myself again, again. For all the things I didn't know, the pain, the hurt, I let it go, let it go. And I start to believe in myself, and life will be sweet again.
That's right. We are here. Good to see everybody. Oh, I forgot to turn on the window. Happy Monday. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm doing great. So much is going on, right? It's been 13 days. Dude's been in office, I guess 14 days. Dude's been in office 14 days. And people are freaking out. Oh my, am I muted? No? Okay, good. And that's not surprising. This happened last time. Remember? It's almost like the elections are purely here to just create an opportunity for like massive change. You get to move a lot of furniture when people are celebrating the loss of the other side. You know what I mean? This is what elections are. Every election, if one's So each of you don't have a choice. You fucking live in society, so deal with it. Each of you is surrounded by a node mean that is either more conservative or more liberal when it comes to voting. It's the same thing that happens next weekend at the Super Bowl. That you're gonna be surrounded by a plasma field. An egregore, in a way, is a good way of looking at it. A belief in the, it's not necessarily a belief in the team. It's not even necessarily a cosmology, but it's a great way of understanding how belief really works. It's a it's a kind of lignin of society. It's a way of holding a group together. It's culture, right? It's the glue of culture. And so our beliefs are we have different levels of beliefs, different superficial to deep modes of connecting. I'm not here to say one's better than the other. Those words are purely scientific in this way. I mean that, and I tend to be on the deeper side, but that doesn't mean I'm right. And this is something that took me a while to really embrace, and it's something I've tried to teach others, but a lot of people get really pissed when you start to question the orthodoxy of objectivity. I would argue to you that I think probably what's stopping us the most from everyone getting what they want is this public display of virtue signaling to objectivity, because it doesn't exist. We insist that it does. We insist that if you put on a white lab coat, or if you have a business card, or if you have some sort of like asphalt parking lot, or a shingle, or something made out of brick and mortar, that you are now trustworthy. If you have a badge, preferably shiny, if you drive a vehicle that is allowed to display certain colors of lights that others aren't. These are things that we use to certify authority. Many of us feel that they were going to legalize weed. A lot of us are like, they legalized weed. And they didn't legalize weed. They actually said, now you have to have papers. If you want a house plant, you have to have papers. What's important here is that the very Constitution that was written on cannabis, by the way, the very paper, it is contraband unless you have a paper. We need a paper to verify whether or not we can have this paper called the Constitution. And as I've mentioned before, that when you ratify, when you have a system in place that ratifies a Bill of Rights, then you are just creating a swamp where rats come, and they just buckfoot laws every day. 3 new laws every day are created. This is the art of ratification. But beyond the pun of rats, which I just thought of, Secret Nim, looking at you, Nim. Ricky Ticky, you are the only Ricky Ticky. I don't give a shit about any others. This is your archetype, you mongoose. I drove a mongoose. It was my first BMX bike. It had mag wheels. Fucking thing was just a death trap. I fucking loved it. It was fantastic. It really was. It was an awful BMXer. I was scolded because another kid wrecked into me. It could have been my fault. Look at me committing insurance fraud right now on live. But another kid wrecked into me. That's what I'm saying. And his bike was on top of mine. And I picked up the bike and handed it to him. And I was scolded later that I'm not supposed to do that. That I'm supposed to ignore his feelings and grab my bike and get back to this race. I remember that day. It's a lot of conflict. I wasn't like a super nice. This is not because, oh, look at the little Jesus on a mongoose BMX bike. That's not what I'm trying to portray here. Although, guys, it's not illegal. Each of us could be Jesus. Each of us could phase in and out of a flow state, hacienda, which is like a restful oasis into the Jesusian of it all. And I know we're like, don't you dare fucking compare that. And I remember once I met a guy named Derek in Kansas City, and man, that dude was on a lot of acid. He was like tripping balls, okay? And he was telling me about how he had realized that he was the Christ, and he was just all full of glee. And I was happy for him. He lived in my building. I'm just like, man, if you're fucking happy, you know what, clap your hands. I looked out of that building once at 4 a.m. I didn't hear anything. I looked out. It was like, at 4 a.m, believe it or not, in Kansas City, for some reason, the sun's up. If you guys, if you want to write that down and like curse me in the comments, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. It's been a while, but when I was there, it was weird shit like that happens. It was like dawn was coming. I stuck my window out. Right as I looked up, this V formation of geese flew overhead. It was just, it stunned me because I was like, I am listening to vectors that I can't even see. I'm in a brick brownstone, right, on the second floor. You don't know this, but I was. There's a lot of insulation. We still see these things. This is all I'm trying to say. And my friend's, explaining that he's discovered that he's the Christ, and I'm happy for him. And I say something to the effect of, man, I feel the same way. And he got really, he was offended by that. And it's okay. Christ is allowed to be offended. Dude is a dude. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if he is or not. I have a lot to cover. Should I be talking about this? Why am I even going this? Yeah. Lots going on right now, guys. A lot. Your empathy is going to be stretched. And I think it's going to be hard to realize, to truly understand that people are still, most of the people around you are taking everything that you see seriously. This is the best advice I can give you, is I just want to remind you that everyone around you thinks countries are real. They think that the fact that 1 out of 56 million or 110 million registered voters happens to be elected every other 4 years, and that's just how it works, because there's only one star on TikTok, right? Their name is, do you see what I mean? Do you see what I mean? TikTok gets like, 100 million freaking views a day, and there's not like, it's not like the same two people. Some of you are like, well, you see a lot of the same. Yeah, I agree. You see a lot of the same. But you don't see two. Yeah, there was that chick that was always dancing, and you were just like, do you work at Target? Is this your stick? And she was like, no, I do video editing. I'm very advanced at it. I was like, okay, and you've got your beast stuff, and all that other stuff, of course, but you understand that most of culture really likes things, not because the thing itself is liked, it's because of the people that gather between. This is the phenomenon of the Grateful Dead. Guys, I'm sorry. Dude, you do not need to play Darkstar for 38 minutes. Fucking take a break. Let the birds have a fucking bird solo in between. It's not about the prowess. Guys, dude had 9 fingers. I fucking love Jerry. Still had 9 fingers, all right? And hey, if you think that I'm not willing to take one for the team, Def Leppard, God, I love those guys. I can't believe I'm going to say this. Def Leppard's drummer wasn't that great. Fucking. The things I do for these people, I stretch my compassion so far. The things I do. Anyway, dude had 1 arm. I know. I'm making excuses. I know. Rise up, gather around, rock this place to the ground, burn it up, go for broke. Okay, so we got a lot to cover. Let's just do it, guys. Your compassion's going to be stretched. I hope that this little live scenario that you just watched is showing you that you're not alone. I fucking feel you, man. I've got a photograph. It's a pyromania. So, Magada is the topic of today's show, and we're gonna bring in on heartbreak. Fuck yeah, yes. Oh God, that's so good. Bring in on heartbreak. Oh, Magada, some of you guys get mad, and this is what I mean by the compassion thing. Some of you were like, James, you called it the Gulf of America, so clearly you like Trump. And it's like, I know where you're at. I get it. I remember what it's like, and I don't even want to try and reach you. Here's what I mean. Some people are very hurt because Trump is not in office, and they need to be hurt because they are going on a date. They are connecting with the rest of the world, and for fuck's sake, if you didn't care about this, people would have no way of knowing if you even have a soul, okay? If you are laser discerning compassion and you are out there just fucking nailing it and seeing through the haze of Hades, you are going to intimidate the shit out of people when you look anywhere near their way. Your sonar creates a resolution that, quite frankly, feels like heat. It's a kind of microwave, and the power of witness starts to sear through them as if they were sardines. It's uncomfortable. If you gather enough pride, if you shed if you've dropped the lacquer of humility, this is not, I didn't tell you to be arrogant, it's if you drop the lacquer that you were going to flagellate, what is that? What do you call that when you I'm gonna just say flagellate. Fucking look it up, fix it. The AI will fix this for you. If you flagellate in front of the public to create some sort of virtue economy, we end up with an economy that's just fake. It's not polite, it's just fake. It also creates a lot of dissonance because children like me, I mean, back when I was a younger or a shorter version of a child, I'm a long child now, but back when I was a short child, I lost a lot of calories, not because I wanted things to be clear, but because no one was telling me, hey, did you see that guy just lied to you? We don't discuss those things. It's not openly discussed. You're too busy memorizing algebraic formulas when before he made you memorize how to solve it, you kind of understood how to fix this thing, but because he wanted you to memorize the steps, you end up in this modality. And as I've said before, I think fascism is quite simply just the idea that there's one way. And the liberals are going to tell you there's one way to do this, and the conservatives are going to tell you there's one way to do this. And both people are going to insist and agree that there is one way. And when you have Jacob's ladder between you, when you have one claw that is telling you this is the way, and the other claw that is telling you this is the way, and you remember what we talked about earlier, where it's really about where people gather that's important. It's not really about whether it's correct, whether the belief is accurate, whether it even serves them. It's where am I going to find my friends at? We're a school of pranic wisdom, right? Like our fish flakes are each other. The glances that we get are, we come home at night and get a nice sleep. We groom ourselves. Well, all right, some of us groom ourselves, and to wake up and gather more. We gather our prana where we may. We finally were able to create a culture where we can create a like button. And we broke through the epidermis, quite frankly, of orthodoxy, where people are like, selfies are wrong, selfies are horrible, selfies are proof that we are rotting as a society. Do you remember that? Do you remember that? Some of you might still be there and enjoy that hot tub, and do, but it could be urine. It could be urine. It could not be a hot tub. If you shine a blue light on top of a hot tub full of urine is probably going to look green. I'm just saying. It's a lot of people do that. We're in a weird place, man. We are in a weird place. And keeping up with the Joneses is impossible. And I'm glad because, frankly, it's a blessing. This is an apocalyptic logarithmic sprint to the end. We have, according to the Jews, we have 215 years left. The AI has 215 years left to reach a singularity, and probably at that time, whatever we've decided is going to be the Antichrist. I really mean this, guys, not because it's true, not because the cosmos made it that way, but because of how powerful our mythology is. This is why. This is the only reason why. And I've been telling you for years that if you're going to fight this thing, you are fighting nature itself. And some of you are like, huh? And some of you were like, tell me more. I like the way that feels. And you like the way it feels because you're able to put more things in place. The mandala completes itself. It doesn't turn into an effect or a corner or a niche. The mandala is the psyche. And the confidence that you have from what happened is not splintered because you were staring directly into the sun. If you consider that you are traveling through the desert and someone stole your camel, you have run out of water. Your belly is carving a serpentine underneath the hot sun. You are going to have some trouble. And the only thing that you're going to be able to do to survive is deny what's happening to you. If you had linen, something as simple as a linen cloth, you would be able to place that cloth between you and the sun and provide shade. This doesn't allow you to survive forever. It doesn't solve the fact that you're going to die, but it certainly prolongs your stay in this place. If you were to consider the fractal nature of the world, you would understand that lies are the same. We are crawling through the desert under the sun. We are smearing the paste of lies all over our face to protect ourselves from exposure. What are these lies? We call them mirage. We call them oasis. We create an illusion of something because we cannot afford authenticity. We cannot afford to verify the destination where we're trying to crawl. We cannot afford these luxuries, and so we utilize the only tongue that a mollusk brings, which to propel ourselves along like a tractor beam, and it is the imaginary idea that there is an oasis ahead. I am not here to shame this thing. This is the placebic plasma that emanates from your dolphin brain. Your dolphin brain is out to here. It doesn't begin at this bony place. You can't see it like the horse can't see its own unicorn horn. This dolphin brain is right the fuck here. And it tells you to look out the window at 4 a.m, and it tells you there's water. Look at that. Look at that beautiful oasis. Those are palm trees. Those are toucans. Those are clouds. That's a beach. And it allows you to move on. That's a tractor beam. Why are we destroying this skill? Why are we insisting there's a secret 11th commandment that says thou shalt not lie? This is what the Christians did to the Jews. Christians are like, well, borrowing money is evil. So we're gonna let the Jews do it. We're gonna borrow money from them. And this is fucking brilliant. This is brilliant. This is an oasis. This is keeping yourself under the exposure and moving on. Now, one thing I want you to remember, my friends, is that The fact that you want to persist, the fact that you are willing to lie, is proof that you're having a good time. And if you're having a good time here, there's some room in your spine. There's some room in your posture. If you're having a good time and you know this because you want to survive and you prove this every day, you could say, no, I just don't have what it takes to kill yourself. No, you do. You fucking do. The truth of it is that you haven't assimilated yet to where you're the full Zeus of the entire world, kind of like what's going on right now. And most of your world is rebelling against you because you as Zeus, you really are kind of like ruled by some weird psychopathic thoughts, or so it thinks. It doesn't understand you. It doesn't understand that you don't trust yourself. It doesn't understand that you're walking around insisting that the truth is outside yourself, and it's these things called facts, and you bump into them in the dark if you have credentials, and you take these credentials and you facts, and if you memorize them and spit them out with the highest amount of accuracy, you will manufacture truth like a dozer on Fraggle Rock, and we will eat these truths and we will say, my God, man, what have you done? And that's not what's happening at all. It's a beautiful illusion. And when you remember these things, you can relax because there is no truth. There are only lies that get you through the desert. And this is placebo. This is your immune system. And you're watching maestros on the stage showing you how it's done. There is a part of your liver that voted for Trump. There's a part of your lungs that voted for Bernie Sanders. Some of you have intestines that voted for Bill Clinton. The list goes on. You are conglomerating yourself whether you want to or not. The New World Order is terrifying you the same way it would terrify these organs that are in between. They lose their autonomy. They're going to listen to some bald dude in a tunic. They're going to listen to some orange guy selling steaks. What the fuck is this all about, right? I don't want you to move into a place, but I want you to notice some things that are happening, because there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that are happening. I wrote an article. If you read, please check the video description for the latest article, which is you're not going to be able to go back in time and choke Hitler. And I want you to consider this. You can go back in time and choke Hitler, but if you're doing that, you're really just kind of masturbating with a time machine. And the fact you have a time machine kind of puts you out of my league, so I'm not even going to fucking judge you. If you want to go back and, masturbate to dinosaurs doing it or whatever, hey, man. Why not, right? Why not? I'll tell you something, though. If you find Silver Surfer, ask him why doesn't he wear pants? If you're going to go back in time and you kill Hitler, let's think about this for just a sec. I looked it up. I can't find how many people Hitler killed. Can't find it. But no one has any proof that he actually killed someone. There's a couple times where he was castigating people. One time he offered a guy a pistol to say, hey, do you want to off yourself? But he himself, we have no distinguishing proof that he killed anyone. If you're a dichotomous thinker, you're going to be like, well, that means you love Hitler. And it's like, okay, there's no sense in even going on. To me, what's stopping us from finding our siren, from relaxing, is the pharmacos dropping the idea that it's Hitler who's guilty, but no one else is. There is no way that Hitler could kill that many people by himself. He's going to need help. And what Hitler does is he brings forth the opportunity for people to showcase themselves. It's the same thing that the internet did with anonymity. The internet allowed another layer of anonymity to be placed. So did prank calls. So does graffiti in a truck stop, in a pizza parlor. These are the same things. These are opportunities. And we as society want to stamp them out. I understand that. But if you could just let people draw dicks on the wall, you're going to find out a lot of things. You're going to release the pressure of these things, and it's going to slowly change into a different sort of temperament. It's more about, do you have the patience to wait it out? I think that the World Economic Forum is doing this to us right now. And when you think about why so many of them are pro-immigration, there is a regulation, a force inside your body that wants all of the cells to really empathize more with all of the other cells. And the best way for Sweden to get a real good dose of, hey, not everyone has it as great as you, with these fucking blonde, shelled bosom women walking around with those dresses on in the hills, turning in circles. You know, it's not everyone has it that way. And so we will take a region that is the antithesis of that, and we will mix them together. We would call this evil, like we meaning the vernacular that is you and I in America, people that grew up in America. We would call this evil. We would call this the worst kind of intent, the worst kind of treachery. And you're watching that play out right now. And if you want to compassionate Klaus, and I know you don't, I get it. If you want to compassionate what they're trying to do, though, I think that if you compassionate them, you're going to be able to survive longer on the Serengeti. That's the only purpose of compassionating them on this way. But if you were to compassionate them, then I think you would understand that their philosophy, because they don't have to lie. Lions do not have to tell lies. I think that's why they're called lions. But we've talked about that in another episode. But lions have the luxury of not having to cower, not having to hide their mane, not having to pretend to be something else. Yes, stealth is certainly a part of hunting all these things, but if you just look at what an apex predator does, King Kong ain't got nothing on me is an expression I think that really captures this ideal that the apex has the privilege of being honest, because the apex can't even imagine what it would be like to be afraid. And so this gives you insight into the predator, because you get to see what they're about. And I'm saying, if you look at what they're doing, they want all the borders to be removed, so there's like a blending. It's turning the world tepid. It's taking all the spice and all the starch and combining them together into a centralized paste. And a lot of people really dig this kind of thing. It's true. A lot of people want all of their books on Kindle. A lot of people want all of their groceries to come from the same place. People find a lot of safety. They you know, if you could see the magic of this, you're probably going to hate this, guys. I appreciate you watching, though. But if you believe it or not, there's a religion of people that when they see a barcode on a piece of food, their immune system gets a boost. It's like a +4 immunity simply by seeing the barcode. You're like, this is fucking crazy. And I need you to stretch your compassion, because it's actually true. And if you don't believe me, I think the best experiment you can have, if you really want to be honest, and I think a lot of you guys aren't going to be honest with this, and that's cool, I don't mind. If you were to be out on a trail and you were to come upon some wild onions, and you've never seen them before, you didn't know what they were, but a friend that was hiking, maybe not a friend, someone else was hiking with you, and they said, here's some wild onions, try them. The hesitation that you feel, and some of you are like, I would never have hesitation. It's like, well, I'm sorry, then you're not listening to the plasma of society. And I know you hear it. I know you hear it because the words I'm saying are getting into your head. So stop pretending that you're immune. Stop pretending that you're that you're robo-sovereign, okay? Stop it. If you can feel the nervousness that comes from eating a dandelion off the ground, if you can still feel that in certain places, I agree that if you have a garden, it's going to be easier, although sometimes if you have a garden, it'll be hard. Sometimes you might witness that things have been eaten and now you're afraid to eat. And this hesitation that you feel, I want you to know, is an epigenetic kind of thing that's been around you a long ass fucking time, a long time. And the magic of the barcode was actually invented to help people like you back then feel better about this place, and it works. It worked. Same with voting. Same with insisting that taxes is the only thing that made the roads. And a long time ago, the Indians built the trails off taxes. It's the only way. These are beliefs that we use to boost our immunity. And I think that if you go back to the definition of fascism, I want you to maybe apply it to people that are closer to where you stand, because the people that are insisting everyone be sovereign, the people that are insisting everyone be anarchistic, the people that are insisting everyone be conservative, the people that are insisting everyone be liberal, the people that are insisting that countries are fucking real, or that nuclear bombs are real, or that everything Elon Musk says is legit or even not legit. What if there was no such thing as a singular way? What if the truth of electric technology is exactly what a certain kind of animal or species needs to wrap their head around this place? And if you look at all the green movements itself, I think you're looking at self-love incarnated on a space, and you're watching an argument take place where we're deciding whether or not we should love ourselves or not. And I'm not here to tell you the answer is to act like a fucking environmental lunatic. I think the answer is to relax and embrace the finitude of it all, to remember that you are crawling through the desert on your belly, and the belly's telling you one thing: facts don't matter. You even know you're going to die. If you know you're going to die and you cannot verify the source of the mirage, why are you crawling to that place? And I'm going to tell you why. You are doing that because you love the experience of what it feels to drink. This is not about survival. This is about sanctity. We talk about that a lot, but it's true. And I need you to know that there's a kindergarten of sanctity out there, and you are probably a 4th or 5th grader. I'm a 3rd grader. I'll go one below you. That's fine. We are learning to compassion as fast as we can at the speed of light, and we are slow as molasses. It is taking forever. It's hard. It's hard, my friends. Man, I've gone way off on this. Sorry about that. Anyway, check it out. You thing in the comments. We are learning these things, watching statues torn down, this whole heritage thing, right? But they're bigots. It's like, well, wait a minute. Who's the bigot here? This is a beautiful lesson. I hope this chick's embarrassed. I hope this dude feels like really, really proud because he was able to withstood some things. He was an absolute gentleman, by the way. Isn't this a great lesson if you showed up and fell for the Tiki Torch parade? Who but an archetypal magician could make the left and right agree? There was a time when my body, my choice would only come from one place, and it was used as a mocking tool to mock the other side. And there's Exhibit A, dude has a coon worthy mustache on his face. Exhibit B, he's wearing a shirt that has a thin blue line American flag. And Exhibit C, he's wearing a shirt that says my body, my choice. And this is magic, my friends. How do you get both sides to agree? Do you do it with fascism? Do you do it with brainwashing? Or do you do it with exposure to Heyoka politics? Reality television, Heyoka politics, the wisdom of the street allows this kind of shame growth to occur on a rapid pace. Your embarrassment is a guiding light. It is your golden compass. It's the brightest light on the screen. And because so many of us consider emotions to be evil or bad or irrational, this thing, we're missing all the plasma. We're leaving it on the field, right? We had so much. We had so many better things. This Uncle Sam hemisphere goes back to Mixcoatl. We might get into that, although we may not have time. But this idea that America, not only is it built into the name, but we've had this vision for a long time. It's not necessarily fair or safe to say it's the Luciferians who did this. America itself, the Wetiko, if you want to call it that, the manifest destiny, if you want to call it that, is the prideful sense of entitlement and the willing nature of Amuraka, Quetzalcoatl, to welcome you to this place. Quetzalcoatl is like, you're the one that's like, we're evil, we have Wetiko. And Quetzalcoatl is like, I literally eat fucking hearts for breakfast, and you're not going to survive another day unless you sacrifice someone. And us being the virgin whites coming that have been rejected, all the orphan trains. It's funny how people who were in the truth movement telling about orphan trains neglect to tell you what was happening in London, that we were literally shipping orphans off on ships over here because, quite frankly, they were all over the place. Why were they all over the place? Because humanity was in a mode of fuck, reproduce, fuck, reproduce, fuck, reproduce. And the only way to fix this thing is to create a penal system disguised as a eugenics program. And if we can't do that, we're going to develop our own version of disease because we are contagious as much as we are protagious. And until you get off your belly, you're only going to see things in contagion land. The protagion is I am fine. The protagion is also this barcode means that this food is clean. The numbers on the barcode give me the date. The date reaffirms the belief. All these things are fucking numbers. We are being imbued by the value, the limbic feeling we get from numbers while we're insisting that all of us are rational when it's a church of fucking numbers. The whole place is. It's a church of numbers. Just in, the Pentagon is set to have Politico, the New York Times, and NBC News vacate their physical office space, which will replace it by New York Post, OAN, fucking Breitbart, and Huffington Post. Did you hear that? The arm of the military, first chair in their media realm ring, is Breitbart, the company that brought you Pizzagate, that elected Donald Trump, that produced QAnon, that signed a blood oath with a Japanese exile claiming that Himalaya is the new capital of the world, of the New World Order, and these organizations, naval warfare intelligence operations that I've been exposing. And every time I do, the video gets taken down, which is really fucking frustrating, but this is a great opportunity to say thank you, patrons, because there's no way this would work. By the way, last week, every episode I did was demonetized. I guess I have a dirty mouth. It'd be great if you want to join Patreon, or if you want to send a super chat right now. Quite frankly, it would help. I appreciate it. Patrons are great. They're allowed this show to happen, but a lot goes into this thing, and sometimes things can't come out. This idea comes from Mixcoatl. It's been here a long time, and it's the idea of technocracy. This is a 1940 map depicting the geopolitical program of technocracy. 1940s, my friend. It's incorporated at the time, an influential organization fueled by Depression-era anxiety. It was fueled by Depression-era anxiety, James? It was fueled by Depression-era anxiety. Technocracy is birthed in the soup of suffering. Suffering. It creates all mirage. It creates all marauders. As I said, 14 days in office, dude is already wanting to invade Greenland. This has been in plan for a long time. This is not a new thing. Politics is not what we think it is. Ask yourself, why would Google Maps even entertain the idea of renaming the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America? This is easily one of the most racist things that anyone has ever done, and Google's like, I'm fine with it. Reuters is fine with it. James, they're just reporting the news. No, they're not. Propaganda is the only way you're going to get information. The AP and the Reuters started 5 years from each other, And it happened in the Civil War. If you watch James True live, thanks to patrons, you would have seen that already. But I digress. Just like Congress, this idea that we have, this conceptual idea that there's people that are calling the government racist is fucking fodder. It's bullshit. And all it would take is Trump to say, hey, you know what? I just noticed something, that there's a difference between sex and gender. That's all it would take. That's literally all it would take. People commit suicide because Trump says there's no difference between sex and gender. Yeah, I get it. You're like, oh, James, that's terrible. You're outside your realm here. It's like, yeah, I am, because I need you to stretch your fucking compassion. And I'm not telling you that Trump is now responsible for those people dying. You want to hear how fucking dank James True meme is? I'm going to fucking tell you, because the people who were going to off themselves simply because Trump is elected were looking for a way out. They needed the exit sign, and having this was the only way they were going to gather more witness as they're fucking taken out. This is the oldest trick in the book, and quite frankly, I've even considered it myself. All of us have witnessed the power of martyr because all of us want to be seen. And so, I do not blame Trump. But I'm telling you, if you're the fucking leader of the world and you want it to satisfy two sides, all you have to fucking do is show a page from Wikipedia explaining what a hermaphroditic plant is. Explain that corn, beans, squash, every fucking thing you cram into your mouth has a gender, and it is different from its sex based on what the fucking greenhouse wanted the sprouts to do that winter. This idea that there's sex and gender and they have to be the same is fascism, and the fascism is directly injected into our system because it makes it work. It keeps the focus, it keeps the attention, it keeps the importance on these things, and it makes the blood flow. Mixcoatl wants your fucking heart. It is how this place works. So yes, we will name this the Gulf of not America, but the Gulf of Amuraka, or the Gulf of Mashika, because that is truly what this place is. It is Mashika, and it is older than all these politics. Rubio is 2 weeks before Trump is elected. Rubio is screaming about Panama. You think that's a coincidence? It's not. These are the footsteps of creatures that we do not want to see. The U.S. wants to reclaim control over the Panama Canal because of technocracy. Technocracy. Trump is going to rename Florida to Magabama. This is my prediction. This is his way of saying thank you for the conservative vote, and it's frankly the least he could fucking do. Okay? So Florida is going to be Magabama, and Mexico is now Florida 2.0. Mexico. If you are not familiar with Man from Florida headlines, you have your work cut out for you. But Mexico, I've seen what you guys can do. I think you can handle it. So you are the new armpit of the South. And quite frankly, I'm excited. I fucking love what you guys got going on down there. And I am really, really looking forward to see what you do as the new Florida. I think you're gonna frankly hit it out of the park. I do. And Megabama, maybe take a break. Maybe take a day off. You've worked hard. Right? Yeah. I think also it could be looking at this being named Gulf of Trump, and it's really occurred to me that if we start a war with China, it's probably going to be named the Gulf of Trump University. I just think that this is, if you can make the whole world do this, I think you can probably have the Gulf of Trump University. So I'm predicting this. Okay. Portal Finder, I don't know. Magabama, I'm going to tell you that I came up with it, but I want you to know that I don't believe that I come up with original ideas. I just think that my fractal antenna, we've talked about fractal antennas here, is in the right place. So if it is, I wouldn't be surprised. What do we got here? Okay, let's remember what what Amuraka is. Let's remember. You're watching James Drew Live.
We're in the Templo Mayor Museum, the museum dedicated to the main temple of the Aztecs here in Mexico City, and we're looking at an enormous stone monolith of a figure who features prominently in Aztec mythology, Coyolxauhqui. Did I say that right?
Pretty close. So this monolith was found actually at the base of the Huitzilopochtli side of the Templo Mayor. So Huitzilopochtli was the patron deity of the Aztecs who was associated with warfare and the sun.
There were two temples on top of the platform, one dedicated to the war god, Huitzilopochtli, and the other to Tlaloc, and this was found on the Huitzilopochtli side.
It was found at the base of the stairs.
And this was clearly an important subject for the Aztec people because as they enlarged the temple, they buried previous versions of the same subject and redid it on top in the same location. So both the subject and the location went together.
There are 7 major building phases of the Templo Mayor, and archaeologists have found that with each phase, the same subject of this decapitated, dismembered, naked woman, Coyolxauhqui, was placed in the same location and repeated over and over.
When we look at her, it's a little bit difficult to put together that she's dismembered, but we can clearly see that she's got these scalloped shape where her neck is, indicating that she's been decapitated. And we see that same scalloping at her shoulders and at her hip joints.
This scalloping is the sense of torn flesh, ripped flesh, which is indicating that she's been dismembered and decapitated. And if we look at the dismembered body parts, you can even see bones, protruding femurs are rising out of the legs.
What happened to poor Coyolxauhqui?
So this is actually a really unusual representation because you don't often see people who are ritually dismembered, decapitated, and particularly not nude because nudity was problematic. So when this monolith was discovered in 1978 by electrical workers digging near the main plaza here in Mexico City, people were really excited because they were able to identify her based on a few key features. Not only that she's dismembered and decapitated, but the bells on her cheeks are telling us who she is, what her name is, because Coyolxauhqui means bells her cheeks.
I'm going to refer to her as bells her cheeks from now on.
Bells on cheeks. Bells on cheeks. Wait a minute, let me just, you know what it says is bells on cheeks. Some of you already heard this, but you know, there's new people here. You don't mind, do you? Bells on cheeks. Just told you the story of Coyolxauhqui. And some of you are like, James, I don't believe you. And so you don't have to believe me. You can listen to Khan University. And I'll probably get demonetized, frankly, because they'll get credit for it. And that's why you need to join Patreon, because I know you're not going to believe me, so I'm going to give you the proof. I don't expect you to believe me. Don't believe me. Believe whatever you want. But Coyolxauhqui. Bells on cheeks. Her body is broken. She told you this is odd to have a figure that's not only nude but decapitated and placed in all these pieces. And why does this happen? The very beginning of ritual sacrifice season is kicked off with this sacrifice of bells on cheeks. By cracking open the bells on cheeks, people are allowed to survive again. By sacrificing her, the sacrifices placed to the god of war, Huitzilopochtli, or the god of global warming or rain, Tlaloc, begins. So Congress is open. The season of Congress in which sacrifices are either given to the left or the right occurs once the Liberty Bell is broken. Can you see the symbolism here? The oracle mythology is telling you what the soil of Amuraka is. And the politics that you're watching today is simply following that harmony. I don't mind that you want to, maybe some of you want to think that there's a strategic BlackRock board that is controlling all of these things. But I also want, if anyone else is more comfortable, to look deeper. I think in addition to them trying to control all these things, there is a percolated kind of nutrient that comes up from the soil, and it makes the political parties what they are today. And Louisiana has a Cajun vibe because of what percolates from the soil. The South has the same. The Rocky Mountains produce a more edgy kind of a creature. The West Coast has its own thing. All of these things are percolated from the soil. And when we tap into the idea that the soil is alive, then you can start to see that the symbolism of Lady Liberty is simply part of the garden. The ritual of Uncle Sam is Mixcoatl, and Mixcoatl is on our Great Seal. It's something we've discussed here. I'll try and move through this, but even our eternal flame is nodding back to a god of fire that, quite frankly, a new fire ceremony, one of the most famous ceremonies of them all, was the opening of someone's chest and pulling their live heart out, and it was imbued to the god of this eternal flame. In fact, every 52 years or so, every cycle, every reset, the flames are extinguished in the village on purpose, and there's 7 days of darkness simply to give everyone the chance to reset. So these things it's natural. My goal is to tell you it's natural. My goal is to show you that this is an organic process that I think probably is happening in an organic supercomputer. And the reason why it would be an organic supercomputer is because if you want to measure the resolution that we have with molecules, was just an example. This would just be one way of zooming it in. But there's so many molecules that when we start to think about what it would be like to simulate all the molecules in the universe, to replay this out, we've run out of space. And if you think about this problem and you follow Moore's law and you start to think about, well, we've run out of space, all of a sudden you get an idea and you're like, wait a minute, what if I could use the environment around me for space? What if the oxygen molecules I could somehow use to compute this equation, right? Just having the extra space is all. Just like if I could just place a simple blip or a quantum state and memorize it, but simply have all these different molecules in this solution, just memorizing this one tiny thing. This is a microcomputer. It's cloud computing. It's something that we do now, and we're already stuck with the struggle of where do you get this thing. Then you start to realize if you now are thinking about turning the environment around you into a computing device, you are suddenly hit with the truth that, don't you think someone did that already? And you realize it would be impossible for them not to. There's no fucking way I'm the first guy that came up with this thing. It's the same principle as Magabama. There is no way, guys, that I was the first person to come up with this thing. There's no way. Of let's tap into the physical environment and use it for a computer, because this is such a fucking brilliant idea. It solves every single equation, every single problem, because now you have a real-time physics engine that just lets everything play. And if you want to know how long it takes to drop a cannonball that has 56.7211164 gazillion molecules in it, and have them in this sort of matrixy shape that, quite frankly, even storing the space between each molecule, because it's all going to be a little bit different unless this thing is completely packed perfectly, is going to take up enough space that you would need a physical computer that looks like a fucking cannonball to store each one, just so you could refer to it again. And this is the concept called tensor. This is tensoring it. So you just fucking cracked reality. You just stuck your face through the epidermis, and you're looking at a machine, but this machine is simply embedded into the organic peat moss that is your mother, that is your Osiren, that is your fluid state. This is who you are. The eagle warriors that run through Washington are the same eagle warriors that existed back then. All these creatures are the same. You'll have to pause this. If you want to look more into this, it's the Hidden Hand of Amu-Ra, an episode where we did this. Now let's think about the medicine of Trump. Let's think about the medicine of politics, the two-party politic. If we're going to say that this is coming from the soil, and it is, the Templo Mayor literally means the temple of authority. Now you know what Washington, D.C. is. It's a bicameral house that has two sides. One's blue, one's red. One says, let's sacrifice global warming. The other says, let's sacrifice terrorism. And we fear these things, and because we fear these things, Uncle Sam shakes the rattle of fear because Uncle Sam wants to stay alive. And so the idea of never, ever let a good crisis go to waste hits. You're watching James Drew Live.
We may have short-term some little pain, and people understand that. But long-term, the United States has been ripped off by virtually every country in the world.
So we will see definitively a lot of anger already now, but probably increased by the end of the year.
Never waste a good crisis.
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste.
Because this crisis will be with us until we really have found a remedy.
Don't waste it.
I'm leaving for a very important meeting with President Trump in Washington. The fact that this would be President Trump's first meeting with a foreign leader since his inauguration is telling.
Speaking with Prime Minister Trudeau tomorrow morning, and I'm also speaking with Mexico tomorrow morning. And I don't expect anything very dramatic. We put tariffs on. They owe us a lot of money, and I'm sure they're going to pay.
So we have to prepare for a more angry world. And how to prepare? It means to take the necessary action.
What's the best way to convince a parent to get a vaccine? Is to have an outbreak. I mean, nothing educates like the virus.
I don't have too many remedies. The remedies have to be discussed through dialogue by the stakeholders of our global system.
Run by radical lunatics, and we're getting them out, and then we'll make a decision.
To create the fairer world.
How concerned are you about the potential impact of the dollar's status as the world's reserve currency?
In any case, we can, the World Economic Forum is very open and as an open platform to integrate everyone who is willing to address those issues through global citizenship.
We may.
That's right, guys. You need to relax and enjoy the dance, because otherwise you're just going to vote for more terrorism. I know you're not going to be like, I would never do that. I would never do that. And the Michigans said the same thing. They said the same thing. Guys, consciousness is coming online. It needs you to relax, because if you can relax, it will too. This is really your duty in this place. So think about this as an organic kind of creation. This whole thing is organic. And the way you respond to this world is exactly what's necessary. So there's no wrong answer. I was muted, but I'm not now. Thank you very much. Deep state theosophy. The infallible God government, having poor boundaries and trust issues, was deceived by his closest angels and have been unable to resolve a staffing issue despite thousands of years and billions of innocent lives suffering under the flames of evil. This is a religion. You were in its church. And the most important thing, it's not broken. Mudra. It's probably in the right mudra. Make the mudra with me. This world is not broken. This world is not. If you want to do count, the count accent with me, you can do that. This world is not broken. This world is not broken. These are numbers of intensity. Relax. This is in the soil. No one got off track. We are fucking in the groove, my friends. We are in the groove. Marco Rubio, I already mentioned him going down to Panama. Tried to explain to you guys how completely obvious it is as someone who's a former programmer that these guys are lying. They are lying. They are lying. They are lying. They are lying. And that Trump has picked them because of how effective they are at lying. The dude who started OpenAI has been walking around with a backpack saying that he has to carry that so we can save the world because fucking Skynet's going to come out of his lab. Musk tells you that he's saving the world by populating Mars, and it turns out he's playing video games the entire fucking time. The reason why these guys succeed is not because the world is broken. The reason these guys succeed is because they are showing you the power and technology of belief. Trump picks them because this is the only way. Do you realize how many people lie around you? Truth will never win in this realm. And after you sit with that idea that truth will never win, first of all, as soon as you're like truth will never win, you're instantly a nihilist. So you're just like, well, now I'm on the fucking nihilist highway. And if you stay there long enough and you watch people like me, you start to see, wait, there's a fucking way out. We don't have to take this highway. I don't have to be a nihilist after all. Maybe fucking lies are okay. It's not a commandment. Not a commandment that says you can't lie. So you start reading PubMed. Start reading about placebo. You're like, well, fuck. This article about lying says that if functional MRI lights up this part of the brain, and this part about placebo says that this part of the brain's lit up, and what the fuck, man? These are the same parts of the brain, which means that placebo is lying. Your immune system is lying. This is why your ancestors can look at a barcode and feel shelter from that place. It is the bet. The little hat is a place where you go inside and eat your bread. It gives you safety at a sanctuary. The date, the barcode, this is the markings. Yeah, we say the markings of the beast. Yeah. Why are we castigating beasts? Guys, we eat cows every fucking day. We drink their milk. We have names for each of their body parts. This idea that the system is the beast is really more an idea of the system is unconscious and therefore you must conjugate it. Yeah, conjugate. To conjugate. To imbue consciousness into a place that otherwise may not have it before once with which one came. This just announced today, I'm not making this up, the country's biggest grifter announces a new mega monopoly. He tweets this. This is why the technology belief is so strong in him. He tweets, he says, obviously, there will be extreme opposition from the grifters. And they will make it sound, I'm trying to do him, but I can't. I'm not that retarded. And they will make it sound like we're cutting funding to some baby pandas, and we're actually cutting funding to fraudsters, rastrels, and terrorists. This is only possible because of Donald Trump. This guy has, hands down, every single time anyone wants to buy a car, you and I have to give him $7,000 fucking dollars. This is the largest fraudster pulling from the teats of government that we have ever seen, hands down. There is no comparison to this. And I need you to know that if Trump is picking him, and he did, and he's picking Sam Altman, and he did, this is a line in the sand for you. Your self-respect, your ability to give someone the benefit of the doubt is your Achilles heel. And I am here to insist that you understand that Trump would have zero respect for you. I'm sorry, Tycho. I don't know why it's doing that now, but it is. I will try and not move. There. I get you though, man. This is a religion, and it's not broken. And I want you to know that Trump would have less respect for you if you kept playing along. I think Trump would use this as a sign to know whether or not you are conscious. Like awake. There's a really sick fucking story about during the Trail of Tears that the cavalry was watching the natives drink. And if the natives were to drink with their mouths, they would be shot. But if they drink with their hands, they were considered okay. This is a posture litmus. And I want you to know that if you were struggling with the idea of whether or not it's moral to support this thing, I bet you that you're not actually struggling with that question. You're struggling whether or not you have the courage to turn into this new thing. This new thing. You see, if you adopt a different belief, you leave the old church and you step into a new one. And this new church, it doesn't have the same kind of parking. It doesn't have the same kind of perks. It has other things. It's got a fucking catacombs. It's got an EYC. It's got canoes. It's got some cool stuff, but it's not from whence you came. And this new religion requires a deeper root. It requires a deeper faith. That's why there's not a lot of people. It's not a mega church, is it? It's not a Joel Osteen. This is a cathedral that, quite frankly, is most of the time empty. Even in the darkest psychopathic realms of what you see, people are showing you the power of belief. This is God winking at you. It really is. And I guarantee you, Trump would have more respect for you if you said this is bullshit. Trump would say, you know what, you're right, and this is what it takes. And you would be able to sit down with Trump. I'm really pretending that he's like a legit down-to-earth guy. And I need to pretend because I want you just to hear this thing. It doesn't have to be Trump. It could be anyone you want to pick. Make it Bernie Sanders if you want. But if you were to sit down with Trump, he would tell you this is what it takes because, quite frankly, the speed of truth is not fast enough. That there is absolutely zero sharpness in that kind of blade. That blade is true, and it should be hung above your mantle at home and never be brought outside to a battle. It is an ornamental display. This is something that we have a hard time with because we don't have pride and reputation. And once you have pride and reputation, you send it out with you on battle and someone shits on it and you start to realize for the very first time how important that thing is. And it was that battle that showed you this place. And so the next time you go out, you would never bring those precious things with you on the field. Honor is a luxury, and it takes a while to kind of understand these things. And the while, I think, really is mitochondrial. The mitochondria that is you, your environment, how much you get for a living, even how much you can sustain yourself. That mitochondrial environment is a power cell, right? It's the battery in the cell that collects energy. And if you have a better posture, the mitochondria trust the nucleus better. It doesn't see the nucleus freaking out. And if the mitochondria sees that your nucleus is not freaking out, it will gather more power. And when you get more power, you will be nervous because everyone around you tells you absolute power corrupts absolutely. And power corrupts. And if you have power, you must be one of them. And if it's darkest before the dawn and I look over at you and you've got a fucking nightlight and you've got a lantern and you're singing a song by yourself, I don't know what to do with that. This is where we are. Watching each other wake up at different times. Some of us are freaking out, saying, you will stay asleep. Others are like, will you please wake up? I can't make it out here by myself. This is the Osiris coming online. ISIS is the crisis we need because ISIS herself is what brings this about. ISIS informs you that the system is bullshit. She didn't say it was broken. She told you it was unconscious. ISIS wants you to conjugate this realm. ISIS is the crisis we need. The truth is everywhere, my friends. The algorithm is God mode. You have these triangular opportunities of cringe and pain. You can shit post from your left hand. You can horny post from the right. You can turn people on. You can turn people off. You can embrace the basic root of of your tree and build from the horrors all the way up to the things that give you faith. This is a magical circle of belief, and you create these refugees. Enemy is a word created by the refugees of propaganda. I want you to think about that. It would require propaganda and self-destruction for you to learn that the word enemy was a thing. It would have to be taught over time. And you'd be taught that over time through a lot of misplaced energy. That enemy is a belief state. It is the existence of a force that is here to do nothing but to annihilate you. And that actually doesn't exist in the world. Stuff actually doesn't happen. It's so much larger, my friends. In Astana right now, Phoenix is a plumed serpent that drowned for Aquarius. These guys, I think they understand belief. They understand belief. And that there's a Phoenix ritual here at play. They've buried this serpent in 2013, and then they flooded it in 5 years later. And this is the new capital of the world. If you want to fight it, I want you to ask yourself, what are you trying to preserve? Is it the petrodollar? Is that what you're trying to save? Because a lot of people are in the truth movement. They're like, we can't fucking use their cryptocurrency. And their cryptocurrency is a magic spell. You're giving it to them. You're saying their cryptocurrency. And cryptocurrency means you're your own bank. You actually can be your own bank. You would not need to ever involve yourself in any kind of FDIC transaction at all. Zero. I didn't say it's anonymous. And when you start to hear the tenets of that, you're looking at the same fight we have over gender versus sex. I said Bitcoin was powerful. I didn't say it's anonymous. I said it's powerful. Why is it powerful? Because it's an open ledger. It's an open checkbook. Every person can read. Ask yourself who's afraid of an open checkbook that everyone can read. Ask yourself that. Yeah, you can be anti-crypto all you want, but I want you to have to explain what it is about an open checkbook that everyone can read that you think is a secret underground Luciferian agenda, because Fort Knox has always been Fort Knox. It has always been, there's not a place for you to be putting gold in here. This is not what you want to do. And we've watched the petrodollar destroy some of the most innocent, fertile humanity that we've ever known. And when Trump and you are talking and he's explained to you why lies are necessary, the first thing you notice is this. People do not trust themselves to be their own banks. They can't handle shit like that. We need Hitler to blame. If you count and if you consider how many people it is said to have died in World War II, that's a lot of people that need to be blamed. It's a lot of unclaimed energy, unclaimed responsibility placed into a funeral pyre for one person. This is how we associate. This is how we learn. This is how we come online. We're doing it. We're building the golem. True and false really is the ultimate name that's written on the forehead of this thing. Pretty amazing. Things are going great, guys. They really are. It's volatile, but it's a good investment. You know what that means? I've been telling you for a long time. I think Bitcoin's a really great idea. You can download the white paper. It's an open source white paper that you can download and you can read. And it doesn't tell you it's private. It's never once said that. It just tells you, hey, here's an idea. Here's some code that you can check yourself, or you can ask anyone else to check, and you'll see that there's a finite system here and that each of us can own a little piece. And this is a system that we've always dreamed we would have with gold. But it's transferable. It's movable. It doesn't involve a government. If you look at the fact that both sides are saying my body, my choice, I'm telling you, they're winning. The one world order is winning. And it's not winning because it's beating you down. It's winning because it's listening to every single person and regulating the space between. That's what they're doing. And it's terrifying. I don't want to be regulated. You don't want to be regulated. But if you watch your neighbor and you watch what's happening, you don't necessarily want to preserve what's there. The orthodoxy that's insisting that the New World Order is horrible is really covering up and protecting some really shitty things. This is not a comfortable rock to stand on. It's not. I think you're going to do better with flow state. I think you're going to do better stepping out of the idea of thinking that there's something to win. This is the egregoric Quetzalcoatl that's on the screen. It's not going to be it's not a one-person thing. I know how helpful it would be if we could find someone to blame. We did the same with Epstein. I can't believe how naive we are about this thing. The Epstein story came from Broward County, the home of Sheriff Scott Israel, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. The Zika virus was invented in this place. The first domestic corona outbreak came from this thing. This is not... When you see millions of people going to 4chan because they think anonymous information is better, you're looking at people that are purposely trying to remove their own self-respect over the kinds of things they would swallow. And it's going to make it that much harder to get to that place. There are, what did I say? There are 215 years left. And then the equation will be finished. So, who knows what's going to happen, right? Do I have something else here to... Nope. Sorry about that. Let me just... No. I think we'll leave it at this place. Guys, hope you liked the show. Hope you appreciated it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix the camera. We'll see what I can do. But subscribe, like, all that other stuff. Super chats would be freaking great. Joining Patreon would be great. But, you know, make me earn it. That's fine, too. We will squeeze every knob that we have. And thanks for letting me do what I do. See you later.